Hello, today is Feedback Friday, and we're going to hear from Raylan, one of our awesome Heart Beginnings graduates. She's going to share her progress, so let's go ahead, dive in, and see how she's doing.
Hi, Carrie and Christy Lynn. I've been practicing Hallelujah, the late beginner version. Two things that I think I'm having difficulty with is just with the comfort of my left hand. I feel like I'm doing the chords and my hand's just kind of like in air. I doesn't know what to do. I know I feel more comfortable with my right hand, but with my left hand, it just feels kind of awkward. And I was looking back on the video and like my hand is just kind of like, I guess I don't know what to do with my hand, my left hand. So I'm still practicing on that. And so any advice you can give me with this song, I'm really enjoying it. And thanks.
First of all, Raylan, really great job. You're getting such a nice sound. I can tell that you're putting a lot of effort into your hand position, and I can see what you mean about your left hand feeling a little bit awkward, so I'm excited to give you some tips to help with that. So from what I'm seeing, the biggest reason it's feeling a little bit awkward is because of how you're closing after you pluck the string. So I'm just going to show you with right hand so you can really see what my fingers are doing. So right now what I'm seeing is that as you pluck, your fingers are coming up and back into your palm like this, which is what we call curly fries. So what we want to see is that the fingers go down and back into the palm like this. You can think of it as like French fries. So tweaking how you close your fingers can really make such a big improvement in your comfort as you're playing, and it can even help you get an even better sound. So instead of this, where you're plucking up and back into your palm, that's super tiring for your hands. What we want to see is that the fingers are closing down and back into your palm. It's a much more relaxed movement and will really help you avoid tension as you're playing. So try to focus on closing smoothly into your palm with relaxed fingers, almost like you're gently gathering them in. And another thing that can help with this is making sure that your elbows are elevated. So we don't want them way up here, but we also don't want them touching your side, because if your elbows are dropped, it's gonna feel more natural to pluck up and back like this. I'm exaggerating a little bit from your video, but if you elevate your elbows just a little bit, plucking down and back into your palm is gonna feel like a much more natural movement. So you mentioned that it's particularly like in your left hand where you're noticing it feeling a bit awkward, but I think right hand also has some room for improvement. So this is something to apply to both hands. So making this adjustment now is really going to help you build a solid foundation and avoid tension, especially as you're moving into more complex pieces. And part of the reason this may be happening is that Hallelujah is a bit of a challenge at the current stage that you're at. You may not have had an issue with curly fries when you're playing easier pieces like the ones you worked on in Heart Beginnings. When you played in progress calls, I don't remember noticing this. So it could be that your brain is working so hard just to keep up with the notes and the rhythm. There's just so much to think about, right? But when you're playing a piece that's a bit beyond your level, your technique sometimes it takes a back seat because you're just focused on other things. But the good news is that stepping back to a slightly simpler piece for a little while will actually help you play these trickier pieces even better in the long run. So if you want to spend some time really honing in and focusing on the closing technique that we talked about in this video, some other simpler late beginner pieces you could try would be Morning Has Broken or Scarborough Fair. These have less technical demand, so that'll really give you space to really focus on fully closing down and back into your palm. And they're really fun and beautiful to play, which is always nice. So once you get this movement feeling natural, you'll have a much easier time bringing it into Hallelujah and other more complex pieces. Okay, let me give you an exercise to actually practice all the things I've been telling you about. So what you're gonna do is place 4, 3, 2, and 1 on middle C, D, E, and F. And what we're gonna do is play our fourth finger 3 times in a row. And I just want you to focus on closing your fourth finger and pinky, because it kind of follows whatever your fourth finger does. Focus on closing those fingers down and back into your palm. Okay, and let's also make sure that our elbow is a bit elevated. Again, not way up here, but we just don't want it dropped, causing a hill in the wrist. Okay, so once you've done fourth finger 3 times, then we're gonna take our fourth finger off, and now we're just gonna pluck third finger 3 times in a row, holding your second finger and thumb on the strings. Okay, so we're closing down and back into our palm, and whatever fingers aren't playing are just following the third finger. Okay, so go ahead and pluck your third finger. Close those fingers down and back into the palm. One more time. And make sure you're staying nice and relaxed. Okay, so now we're moving on to second finger. Same idea, we're placed with 2 and 1 on E and F, and we're gonna pluck our second finger. And all the fingers, like your third, fourth, and pinky, will just follow whatever second finger does. So close all those down and back into the palm. One more time. Great, okay, now we're gonna move on to the thumb, and just to kind of anchor ourselves on the strings, let's go back to place 4, 3, 2, 1 on C, D, E, and F. Just pluck your thumb 3 times in a row, holding all the other fingers on the strings. Really press in and close fully. Just like that. Okay, so you can repeat and do the same thing with your left hand. And another exercise might be just placing 3, 2, 1 on C, E, G in left hand, and then the same fingers and notes in right hand, but an octave higher. And just playing one note at a time. This is a similar exercise that I gave in our previous Feedback Friday video, but this is more similar to the technique, like the pattern you're doing in Hallelujah, so you might enjoy this one as well. Just making sure that you're closing each finger down and back into your palm and staying nice and relaxed. And so with this exercise, you just move up a note each time. And just keep going until you run out of strings, or you can go up to an octave higher. It's up to you. Raylan, thanks so much for sharing your video with us, and I'm so excited to see how you continue to grow. And for everyone watching, if you'd like to get personal feedback from me on your own playing, you can check out the link in the description to submit your own video, and you can click here to see me give feedback to another one of our great students.